In this video, we're continuing our series on YouTube advertising for beginners. If you're new here, this is the very first video you stumbled upon, make sure you go back and watch the first video that's going to show you how to set everything up and get to this point. I'll put a link to that video down in the description, but in this video, I'm going to show you how to create your first ad, what buttons to click on, where to go, how to navigate everything, and what you need to do in order to get that first ad up and running. And like always, if you haven't yet done so, make sure you hit subscribe on this channel, click the little bell notification, stay on top of everything that we're delivering content-wise. It's going to help you use YouTube advertising in your brand and in your business so that you can grow your bottom line with YouTube advertising. Now that we've created our Google account, our YouTube channel, and our Google Ads account, we've linked everything together. We set up our billing, we've linked our YouTube channel. We should be here on the front page of Google Ads. And if you're not, simply click on the Google Ads icon right here in the top left corner, and that's going to bring you to the front page. And this is going to be where you operate. This is going to be your ecosystem for everything. The way that you're going to set up your very first campaign is you can click on this button right here, or you can go over here, and because this is going to eventually go away. So when you want to create ads, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go over here and you're going to hover over the campaign icon, the button with the little home icon. You're going to click on campaigns. It's going to show you that you have no campaigns set up. And that's perfectly fine. We know we don't have any campaigns set up. We have a few different ways to do it. We can click on this little blue button right here, or we can click on this button right here that says new campaign. I'm just going to click on this blue circle. I'm going to click on new campaign, and it's going to bring me to this objective icon. It's going to say, what would you like to do with this ad? Are you trying to drive sales? Are you trying to drive leads, website traffic? You're just trying to build some product branding consideration, brand outreach, and awareness? Or are you trying to promote a mobile app? Here's what I can say here, and try to keep this in the most simple terms. If you don't have a lot of data, you haven't run a lot of ads, which if you're watching this video, it's likely that you haven't. My strong recommendation here is to go with product, brand, and consideration. And you're going to say, Nick, well, I want to drive sales, I want to drive leads, and that's true, and you'll get there. However, your ad account is brand new. It doesn't know anything. It's basically a toddler. It's a small child that you have to train, you have to teach. And the best way that you're going to train and teach it is by giving it some data, by giving it results. When you select sales or leads, it's really trying to work off of the YouTube algorithm and the Google algorithm to try to find people based on data that you've already gathered, but you haven't gotten to that point yet. So you're going to want to do product and brand consideration. So just click on that here. It's going to bring this campaign type. You can do display or video. You're simply going to select video. Video tells Google Ads that this is a video that's going to run on YouTube. So select video. And the last dialog box that's going to come up is it's going to say, do you want to try to have influence consideration, ad sequencing, or shopping? We'll get into these other two in later content videos. I just want you to click on influence consideration. Hit continue. And now it brings us to the belly of the beast for our YouTube ad. So right here, it's just broken down top to bottom. Everything's very vertical here. I'll just scroll just to show you how long this is. It's not very long. You're simply going to name your campaign, and we're just going to do test ad. Your bidding strategy is going to automatically default to maximum CPV. And what a CPV is it stands for cost per view. Cost per view. And what we're doing is we're going to bid like an auction on the views. And our bidding strategy is just defaulted to that. Our campaign budget is going to automatically default to total. I want you to click on this little button and hit daily. We want to set a daily budget for our ad. We don't want to throttle the machine. We don't want to say you've only got this much money and limit it. We want to let it feel and think like it's open-ended. So just select daily. And we're going to say whatever our daily budget is, whatever we're comfortable spending on advertising. I'm just going to select $10. That's all I want to spend in a day. So if we get to that point, I want Google to begin to throttle or limit my ad. Next, it brings us to a box and says, what networks, languages, and locations would you like to select? I'm going to click on networks here, and I'm already going to have this selected here as YouTube videos. What this means is that it's only going to show on YouTube videos, not on other search results, not on other websites. I just want this to show as an ad before another video on YouTube. And next I'm going to select languages. Unless your video is spoken in another language, just select whatever language you did your video in. and I'm going to specify I want this to go to an English-speaking audience. If your video is in Spanish, if your targeting is in Spanish, then you can select Spanish, and that's great, or whatever language you want to do. I'm going to specify English, and then I'm going to select my location. You can go as broad as the world, you can go to the continent and the country, you can do the state, you can do the city, you can even do the zip code. So I'm just going to do my zip code, and I'm going to target just that in Arizona. The next thing here is inventory type. I'm going to leave this standard. I'm not going to mess with this at all. This is going to be just what it is. Then I'm going to do excluded content. I'm not going to mess with any of this as well. And you'll think, well, Nick, I don't want my ad to show up on any of these things. And that's good. You shouldn't. Here's my own personal bias and my own personal belief. I'd rather me set the standard for that. I don't want Google to tell me what is tragic or what is sensitive or any of those things. Unless it really is, I'm just going to leave that blank. And then the next is excluded types and labels. I do like to exclude my video content and my ads on any embedded videos on someone's website or any live streaming videos. Next here is this little blue link, and I wish they didn't make this as hidden as they do, but it says additional settings. I'm going to click on additional settings, and I want you to specify here your frequency capping. We're going to go first to that, and I want you to cap your views. Now remember, a view is somebody that watches your video for 30 seconds or more, or they click on your ad. If they do that, they're counted as a view. If they skip the video in the first 30 seconds, then you're not charged for it, and that's great. I don't mind showing my video to people that I'm just getting free impressions on. So I'm going to leave that blank. I'm not going to cap my impressions, but I am going to cap my views. And I'm just going to set this at 4 or 5 times per month. You can go with the lower number if you want to. If you think about it, the more you cap that, the more hyper-focused the ad's going to be in trying to find new people. So you don't want to keep paying for ads to the same people, so you might want to go with the lower number. I'm just doing this for an example and setting it at 5 per month. On some ads that I run and some ads that we run for our clients, we do 2 or even 1 time per month. I really want to throttle it so that it finds new people. So I'm going to leave that to your discretion. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure you set an ad schedule. I'm going to let my ad run all day, all night, just let it run, and I'm going to give it a name now for my ad group. The campaign level, which we've been working in, is we're setting our budget and we're setting our location. We're setting what the campaign is actually going to do and spend. Here in the ad group level, we're setting our targeting. And this is going to be important here. So after we get here, we're going to name our ad group. I'm just going to give it the same name. And here we're going to specify the targeting. You have 5 different levels of targeting with YouTube ads. You can target based on demographics. You can go to different audiences. You can go to different keywords, topics, and placements. And on this channel, I have a lot of content that shows you exactly what all these mean. I show you the audiences, the keywords, the topics. Feel free to watch that content. It's really going to break it down very kind of nitty-gritty on how that all works and why you might want to think about that. So for the basis of just this video, I'm just going to select the demographics that I want, and let's pick a type of niche or type of ad that we're going to run. Let's say we want to run this to insurance, auto insurance, for homeowners, right? We want kind of established families. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to deselect 18 to 24 and maybe even 25 to 34. I might also deselect 65 plus, and that's just because the type of client that I'm trying to go after, the type of audience who owns a home, has a couple kids, is probably more or less in this ballpark here. And that's totally fine. That's going to make for a really good client for me. So I want you to determine what that is for you, who your clients are, what type of age they predominantly are, who are the people that typically buy from you, and who make really good customers. That's how you want to think about what age you want to select. Here you're going to see gender, male, female, or unknown. Just really quick, unknown is not Google trying to make a political statement. They're not trying to, this is not a PC situation here. They are simply saying it's unknown because the people who are clicking through, they don't know. They may not be logged into their Google account. They are just, people who are on an incognito browser. Whatever the case might be, Google doesn't know who they are. So that's where the unknown status comes from. A parental status, are they a parent? Are they not a parent? Do they have kids at home? This has really, in my testing, been what parental status means. It's, are there kids in the home? And they're going to know that because of the type of content that that's being watched on the account. If you're like me, maybe you're guilty like I am and you give your phone to your children and they watch videos in the car or whatever, and maybe they're watching toy videos or cartoon videos. Google has a pretty good idea if there are kids in the home. So you can select that here. And then household income. This is Google's best guess. Now, Google's very intelligent. They know a lot about you. But one thing they don't always know that we think is they don't know what your adjusted gross income is. They don't know what your tax returns say. So it's at best a guess. The way that they get this information is by knowing the type of searching that you're doing, what kind of content you're watching, what you're doing online. They have a really good guess what where you fall into, if you're in the top 10% or if you're in the lower 50%, and they're going to show the ads to that demographic. You might want to leave this wide open just to start, because you really want to let the data kind of tell you what it is. And going back to the age thing, you might want to leave a few of these more wide open and just allow the data, which we'll get to in the next video, show you what is working, what is not working. But because one thing that is a big mistake that I make still, and everybody makes, is we assume too much. We assume we know it's going to work. And for the most part, on a brand new ad, you're taking really good educated guesses. You don't know exactly what's going to work, but you have a really good idea. So you might want to leave this wide open. So that's actually what I'm going to go back and do. And really here in these other targeting options, you have the ability to set audiences. So if you create a custom audience, which I show in further content, really make sure you pay attention to that. You can select those audiences. You can do a remarketing audience, so anybody who's watched your videos, anybody who's gone to your website, anybody who anybody that you want to retarget, you can do that. Or you can go to people who are in market, and in market is basically Google's guess at people who are in the market for, in this case, insurance. Again, watch that content video. It'll really kind of key in on that. Same with keywords, topics, and placements. You don't really want to layer too much here, because the more you make Google think right out of the box, the more confused it can possibly get. You want to feed it easy data, and this is going to actually lead to some of your ads being a little bit more expensive at first, because you're casting a very wide net. And by casting a wide net, you're going to swing and miss on a lot of things. But what we're going to do in the next training video after this is we're going to show you how to look at those analytics, how to look at those metrics, so that you can begin to refine and prune, so that you have you have an ad that's winning more and generating lower cost per leads, lower sales, all of the metrics that are important to you. So we're going to skip the rest of the targeting here, just because I want to get to the bidding. The bidding is what you're going to bid per the view. So Google's going to take your video and they're going to put it in an auction. They're going to put it in an auction with everybody else. Everybody else who's competing on these same targeting options, in my case the demographics, I'm competing with everybody else. So I have to raise my hand like I'm in an auction, and I have to compete for the view. And so you're going to set a cost per view bid. What am I willing to spend per view? And if you look over here, and you're going to see how this works, the impressions over to the far right now, based on our targeting, show us that impression wise we have 300,000 possible impressions. Once we put in our bidding and we put in our video, it's going to kind of really hone in on how many impressions we likely have. And this is going to be the data that we need to kind of go back and forth on what type of ad we're doing here. So I'm just going to select my bidding right now at 12 cents. And before we get in further on this, let me explain how the bidding works. You're bidding with everybody else. And in my case, I'm bidding 12 cents. That's what I've set my opening bid at. Now, it's possible that I will pay 12 cents, but it's more possible that I will pay less, because of the way that the Google auction works. Just so that I can break this down very simply for you, is if you have 4 people who are bidding on the same thing, and we have more, but if we have 4 people and the highest bidder bids 25 cents and the lowest bidder bids 6 cents, I'm in the middle at 12. Google's still going to show my ad. YouTube is still going to display my ad. Maybe not to the frequency that I would like. It's not going to prioritize it as much. But I'm only going to pay whatever the second place bid is plus 1 penny. So let me break that down one more time. If I win the auction at 12 cents, I'm only paying what the second place bid was, maybe 8 cents. And then we're adding 1 penny. So my cost per view is only actually 9 cents. But I'm telling you, I'm willing to spend 12. I know that's a little convoluted and a little complicated. You'll see this more in your metrics, but for the opening bid, I'm gonna start this off at 12 cents, and I'm just gonna grab a video here from my YouTube channel. And just for the sake of example, I'm just gonna grab any video right here. And there's an ad. Let's stop this here. I don't want to charge the guy. I want to be nice. So we have a video. I'm going to paste this into the link right here. And now we're going to see this number begin to change. It's going to tell me really what it is. So based on my view, based on my cost per view bid at 12 cents, it's pretty close there. I'm going to select skippable in stream. And we see it has a preview there, and it tells us what the actual cost per view average is going to be. And so we can kind of finagle this number a little bit here. If we think we're going to get this many impressions on a weekly basis, then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of adjust this here based on what it's telling me it thinks the average is. And let's just do 7 cents. And let's see if it's any different. You can see it goes up just a little bit. So you can kind of mess with this a little bit, but you're gonna select skippable in-stream ad. You're gonna put the landing page, whatever it is that you wanna take people to. Maybe it's your website that has a form on there. Maybe it is a landing page that has a survey, or whatever the case might be. You want to take them there. And in further content, in our more intermediate training, I'm going to show you more about landing pages and all that stuff, so make sure you stay tuned. It's a great case for you to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so that you know when we're dropping that content. But in those next training videos, I'm going to show you more about landing pages and kind of the thought behind landing pages. But here you're going to select this here, and I'm just going to grab any website here just so that we have something to grab onto. So I'm just going to pop in this URL here now. You're going to notice this is a URL to a survey that I run for various ads for mortgage. You're going to see here that's a very ugly looking URL. It's got all this garbage after it. Now remember when I told you about Google being very strict on billing? That was in the previous video when we set up our account. They're very strict on this next part as well. You're gonna have a display URL. If I just click, it's just gonna automatically populate what I put in there. I don't want this long URL to be my display URL. That's not what I want customers to see, because that just looks confusing. It just looks bad, honestly. So one thing that you do not want to do, you do not want to try to trick Google. You do not want to try to play games with Google. Understand something, Google's a lot more intelligent than you are. At least it thinks it does. So let's go ahead and cater to its vanity and not try to trick it. And what I mean by that is no redirects, no short links, no bit.lys, nothing that tries to deceive Google and or the end user. They don't like that. They will shut you down fast. So make sure you don't do anything. Just keep it like it is. But what you can do is everything after the .com, I can delete. So I'm just leaving the root URL there as the display URL, and that's perfectly fine. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this button here that says call to action. And you're going to see it adds a little button right here as a preview button, and I can see what this looks like on desktop. I can see what it looks like on mobile, and I'm going to give it a very straightforward call to action. I'm not going to make it confusing. I'm going to tell them exactly what I want them to do. You've only got 10 characters here, so you can't mess around. The other thing you want to make sure is you want to type this in all as sentence case, and what I mean by that is don't do this. Don't do all caps. Right, don't do that. They don't like that. And don't do title case where it looks like this. They don't like that either. As you can see, it automatically capitalizes it. So I'm just going to do get quote. And then on the headline, the same principle applies. Don't do all caps. Don't do any emojis. Don't do anything clickbaity. Google's going to not run your ad. So just tell them what you want to do. Get mortgage. Gonna say get mortgage. This could be whatever it is that you want it to be, but I'm a big fan of making this very simple, very clear, not messing around, not saying learn more or none of that stuff. A get started's okay, but I try to make it very direct because I'm telling them, I'm trying to instill into the prospect or to the person clicking through what it is that they're opting into, what they're doing. This is going to help me a lot in my sales process. So headline is very short, very sweet. I've only got 15 characters, and I'm going to give it a name here. One thing you can do that is optional, if you're running this ad on desktop and you haven't just selected mobile, you can upload an image that's going to run, I'll show you, what this looks like here. You see here, this ad has a little open space where you can put your own banner ad in. And this can be great because if people skip your video, that banner ad will still show up throughout the entire video unless they go full screen on desktop. So I'm just gonna try to select an already uploaded image if I've got one. I don't. So you can make one here that's 300 by 60 pixels. Just do Photoshop or Canva or whatever you want to do, and that will just display right here. I would make it just a very simple call to action, just a banner ad that just shows up the entire time. It's only going to show up on desktop, and it's only going to show up if they're not in full screen mode. So keep that in mind. But on desktop, on mobile, it's not going to show anything, but you can have that option there. They call it advanced. But I don't know how advanced it is, but it's an option for you. And that's how you're gonna do it. This is how you create your YouTube ad. So I'm just gonna hit create campaign. And once I do that, I'm gonna show it. I'm just gonna do that here. I'm gonna let it auto generate, and I'm gonna hit create campaign. And continue to campaign. And I'm gonna see it right there in my campaigns. If I just go all campaigns up top, there we are right there. There's my test ad for $10 a day. It's gonna get approved. The way that you would know that it's approved is if I just click in it here and I go to ads and extensions, I'm gonna see that it's under review. I'm gonna actually turn this off here so that I'm not being charged any money. But in the next video, I'm gonna show you how to look at your analytics so that you understand what results are getting and how to actually prune and refine your YouTube ad. Stay tuned, click over to the video now so you can watch that, and we'll see you on that next training.